Is Catherine joining us tonight?
Who?
Catherine? Right? I'm sorry, Heidi. Oh my gosh. Heidi.
I think so. As far as I know, she's coming. She emailed me earlier today, so I'm assuming she's coming in.
Okay.
It might just take a minute to get in.
Growing up, there is a family that also had that same last name. That.
Just a heads up, we are live. And actually, I mean to ask, I can see it from my side of the screen. It says live once we actually go through. Can everyone else see that up in their upper left?
Yes.
All right, then maybe I won't have to butt in. You won't have to hear me in the meetings anymore.
That's all right. You can butt in, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
And my guess is Chris might still be struggling with her internet at home.
Okay.
She doesn't have a real great connection, I don't think, so we can probably go forth.
All right. And I was just going to pull up the agenda really quick, if you bear with me. Unless somebody else happens to have it right there, because I'm kind of slow with this.
I've got mine up if you want. I mean, but I don't know if I should start for you. I can.
Okay, sounds good. So I think first off, we'll call the meeting for the North Liberty Library Board of Trustees to order. And I think off the top of my head, the first thing would be if there's any new additions, changes, anything to the agenda.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, and then the second thing should be the meeting minutes from October. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
In August?
September, I'm sorry, September. It's been one of those days.
What I saw was on the bottom of that, you'd written the next meeting was November when it should have been today's date.
We can fix that.
But that was the only thing I saw that needed changing.
Oh,
Okay.
right. I was looking at the old one. Okay.
Any other issues? No? Does anybody have a motion to approve the board minutes from September with the change for the next meeting date?
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a
I
second?
second.
Okay, all in favor, aye.
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 Any, all opposed, nay? Okay, so we'll move on. Those are passed and we'll move on. And I think the next thing should be introduction of a team member. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Melanie with us tonight.
All right.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Melanie.
All right, you want me to go ahead and do my spiel? Okay. So I'm kind of just going to go over the things that I sent to Jenny to have included in the agenda or on your guys' reports. I feel like, I don't know, lots of different things going on this year, as everybody does. So we're just trying to connect with everybody in our community through virtual avenues. So one of the things we have going on right now is our Kids Vote event, which started while we had the satellite voting happening in the library over the weekend. And then we will have it virtual so people can vote from our website linking or through Facebook to the link and vote for their storybook president and vice president. So for the president, it's Elephant and Piggy that are battling. And for, I don't know if you guys are familiar with those books, but Elephant and Piggy are in the same stories. So it's kind of cool that they're kind of up against each other and they're still friends. So, and then for vice president, we have Mother Bruce and Penelope. Penelope's a little bit newer of a series, but they're both Mother Bruce and Penelope books are by the same author. So we thought that was another good matchup. So we'll see what the month brings. And what the voting said, the readers say. So that'll take place. We have ballots in the library for people to fill out when they come in. Otherwise, they can do it online from there. And then Emily is going to have a story time around the books of the winning characters on November 6th. So that's how we'll release who the winners were. So we're kind of excited about that and getting some interest in. I noticed over the weekend when I came in today, there were some ballots in there. So there must have been some kiddos that came along with parents while they were voting. Some other things I've been working on is the website, just making that as accessible to people as possible so that they can navigate and get where they need to go pretty quickly without a whole bunch of clicking. So at the beginning of COVID, we had created a free fun for kids page, and that was under our reference on the, so if you go to our website, northlibertylibrary.org, the tabs across there, one of them's reference, and then under that, it was the free fun for kids. And there we just linked a whole bunch of websites that had free content available to help keep kids busy. Some of them were just like the Cincinnati Zoo doing their free thing. Then local places like Becky's Mindful Kitchen was doing some free classes for families and kids. So we had those linked. And then like Big Picture Studio, which I think I've left up there because she has the free doodles that they did little tutorial videos. So we had all of that. So then plus some other bigger things, ABC, I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. So as we come into the fall, we decided that, you know, some of that content didn't need to stay up there. And we wanted to pull some of our kid databases that we subscribe to onto the top of that. So I've kind of moved some things around and hoping that families can find all of that in one place. So it is, now I have to remember what I called it. I think it's just resources for kids. So at the top, it'll be the library's resources. So it has Canopy Kids for the streaming, the Unite for Literacy, which is stories read in various languages and narrated. There's 4 of them. And then we're going to be, I think Jenny told me, and I don't know a whole lot about it yet, but Jenny said we're getting Brain Fuse has a tutoring resource that we're adding to that. So those are kind of hopefully in an easier place for people to find and navigate to, along with some of those other free sites that help with coding, science. There's a couple of other like not live story time, but like recorded YouTube story times. So those are all on one page. That's another project. And then what is some of the other stuff? The other thing I have listed on my bullet points is something that it's kind of been a goal of mine for a couple of years, and that's somehow either having an app built or finding a way that we can implement an app-like service for patrons so that they can have their library card right there. They can have see the catalog right from where they're at. And so at ARSL, well, at the beginning of this month, I listened to a webinar that talked about cloud library. And they have a module in their app that families can do kind of the things that we're looking for that would allow us to be able to do that without having to build something specific. And they work with Polaris, so which is our system that we have. So they could kind of incorporate our catalog. The other thing that's nice is if patrons come into the library, they can use their app to check out the books as they go. So if they found what they want, they can check it. There's my book bag. So as you're getting ready to come back to the library, you can see your list of books that you have and kind of check them as you add them to the bag, and then you know which ones you're missing. So there's other services that they offer through it's Biblioteca is the over company. But that's kind of the module that I'm looking at, because it kind of gives us what we want, and not having to have something built specifically for us that we would have to make work and all of that. So that is something I sat in and meeting for that on Friday. And so it's something another avenue we're kind of going down and looking into. Kind of excited about that. I think just being able, there's so many cards anymore that like anytime you can have it all into one place for the family or everything is nice. So that's kind of what I'm excited about. And then the other part of that module is that we can push our programming. So in the module, we can say, hey, there's a program tonight happening at 6 o'clock. Don't forget. It's another way to reach people who maybe aren't on social media there too. So that is something. And then the other thing, let's see. Oh, so something fun we've got going on in the library is another thing that through ARSL, an Aerogarden. I don't know if you guys have heard of an Aerogarden. Shh, I'm busy, honey. I know. Go see Dad. I'm sorry. So an Aerogarden, it's just a way to grow plants inside. I wish I don't have a picture in front of me to show you guys, but if you look at our Instagram, and Liberty Library, there's a picture of it. I got it set up on Friday, and you just fill water. There's these little pods you put in there. What was appealing to me was that we could grow lettuce, so kind of dual purpose. We can grow lettuce to feed Matilda with it, and then we got additional like the pod starters, so we can when we get to that point, we can use some of our seeds that we've had in the library and kind of grow some things. It can grow anything, flowers, vegetables. I think Andrew has one at home and they're growing strawberries. So it's kind of a neat little gadget. If you're in the library, you'll see that sitting on the counter. It's all does its own thing. It's on a timer. The lights are on for the amount of time it needs to be. It shuts off. So we're really excited. I set it up on Friday, and today I came in and there's little sprouts. So it's kind of cool to have that pretty instant.
It actually grew from the beginning of the day until now. They're bigger now than they were this morning. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. So we thought a little fun during the winter as we go into the winter. It's another way to see like fresh vegetables, produce. And then if it produces really well, maybe, we can give it away to the patrons that come in. So let's see. And then the other thing we have going on right now, since we aren't able to have our trunk or treat, which is one of my favorite events that we have every year, we're doing our Halloween costume. Not really a contest. It's just encouraging people to send photos of family, pets, themselves in costume. And then we're just going to have a drawing from everybody who submits a photo for prizes. Paige Pryor Photography has last year did our photo booth at the event, and she has graciously donated a mini session. So that's going to be one of the prizes. Colony Pumpkin Patch donated like a pumpkin kit, so 6 pumpkins, and then we've got the stuff for decorating. And then we got a couple of snack things from Leash on Life for the pets. So kind of excited about that as another way to have some fun when we can't have our fun event. Those images that people submitted, so we can take the submissions through Wednesday at noon, and then next Friday, so then we can do our drawing and people can get their prize, especially because of the pumpkin kit. I wanted to make sure they had like the weekend prior to be able to decorate pumpkins. So we'll get that done, and then next Friday, when we would have had our trunk or treat, is when we're just going to upload the images that were sent to us, so that everybody can kind of see all the kiddos and costumes and different things. That's just a fun interactive thing to do on our Facebook. So those are some of the bigger things I have going right now. I'm tomorrow through Thursday, I'm going to be doing some Adobe Max. They have a conference going on, And so I'm doing some of those sessions. I'm kind of excited about that. I've never done it before, but since it's virtual and free, I'm looking forward to that opportunity and maybe growing some of my knowledge in some of those sites. And then the other thing I have down is just my title kind of had a little bit of a change. Not a big change, just this position as it grows and we figure out what it is. It's kind of just changed a little bit. So I used to do a lot of program planning, and then it leaned more towards like bigger events, and then along with the marketing of course being the main piece, and something that I also help with events in the community. And so when Jenny was talking to us about our positions and looking at our job descriptions, I just brought up that I really like the word engagement. And so prior, my title was library marketing and events. So I still kind of help with those, but I am more library marketing and engagement. So that's kind of where my title is just going to shift a little bit to that. On the city level, I help to coordinate the library's interaction at events like Beat the Bitter, Blues and Barbecue, the flamingo flocking event. So just the trunk or treat, things like that kind of engage the library and the community on a larger scale than just our everyday story time and, the programming that we have inside the library. So that was just a small kind of change in my title, but I feel like it fits what I do as this position's developed. So those are the things I had. I don't know if Jenny, is there anything else you wanted me to talk about or that I missed?
No, I think, I think any of that's great because her title, it definitely sums up, everything she's been talking about is how we engage with the people in the community and how the library interacts. And that's really something Melanie's taken on more and more over the last few years. And when she says we, she really means she's really developed her position a lot from when she started in that role, which we just adopted her into because she was so good at it. And she's taken on a lot to learn those things, going to conferences, both national level conferences, which she would have gone to this year had she been able to the Amigos conference, but hopefully again soon. And then she did attend ARSL, which was great, but like she said, with the Aerogarden. So
yeah, that's something I've never done, ARSL. So since they had the virtual stuff, it's been kind of fun to be able to attend some of the conferences that aren't always a perfect fit for what I'm doing. But I got some cool stuff out of. Sorry, that's my dog, if you hear that.
Wonderful. Sounds like you have a lot going on. Thank you for coming and talking to us about everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Melanie? No? I do have one. It's a little bit off the wall, but I'm just really curious. Has there been anything with trying to engage the community that's really surprised you through this whole COVID and distancing thing?
I think staff, people really like to connect with the librarians. And so I think that staff probably roll their eyes when I'm like, okay, can we do this picture thing? Let's just get pictures. Can you send me a picture of what you're doing when you're working from home? Or can you, and I'm sure they're rolling their eyes, but the engagement that we get on that is people, they like seeing us as, I don't know, outside of the library, and even inside of the library, what we're up to, just a furthering, you get the messages on there like, oh, I miss Mr. Andrew, or you miss story time. And so that's kind of, I know that staff kind of roll their eyes at me when I'm like, send me a picture of just whatever. But it's something that the community really engages with. That's the main thing is it not that it surprised me. I kind of know people like seeing pictures, but just how much that people kind of miss that interaction with us. And so, and Matilda, I think for a very long time we did her feedings, and just that so many people were, I don't know, like to watch her eat her letters. So
Thank you. I just think we're all getting surprised and learning things clear through this. So it's good to hear different experiences. Does anybody else have any other questions? No. All right. Well, thank you for your time. Have a
Thanks.
great rest of the night.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. So now we'll move on to reports. Well, after the staff introduction report, budget report. Jenny, do you have that?
Yes, and I just was looking through my report and realized that I did not fill in the budget numbers on my actual director's report, which is fine because they're in there. I just like to throw them in there as an extra. And every month I delete them out and put the new ones in, and I deleted them and did not put the new ones in. So we're sitting really well. 25% is, we're in our second quarter now, which is crazy to me. So the personnel, as I think part of that is the transition with Janet transitioning in her position and not having anyone in that role of tech right now. So we're at 22.96%, which is pretty good. We're utilizing our part-timers quite a bit right now to help us support the library hop and the curbside. So that number is a little higher, but that's pretty normal for us about this time of year. And then as we say every time, 33.29% in the regular budget, just as some of those expenditures that get done at the front of the year. As always, the ebooks and that get encumbered and some other things. I think it's interesting this year. It's a little hard to predict how the money will be, how the money will go. Some things we're spending a lot more on than we would normally. For instance, we purchased lockers that are hopefully going to go out. We're sort of dependent on our maintenance staff to get those out. They've got them ready now, and I just need to get them to take them outside. And then our parks guys are going to come mount them to the brick so that people can come and use those. So things like that that are kind of costly. And then we have a lot of COVID expenses that we hope the CARES Act will be covering. We should be seeing some money coming back into the budget from that, some reimbursements. Ours are not huge. There's a lot for the citywide, but ours aren't ginormous or anything. A few $1,000s here and there. And so right now we're sitting right at 25%. So we're right where we should be for the full budget totals. Does anyone have any questions about budgeting or any numbers that you're curious about? No. Not too many mysteries.
Sounds great. And then I saw that the friends were actually able to meet recently.
We did. So we met in the park. We met over at Centennial Park and sat in a big circle with our lawn chairs and just visited. It was nice for them. So they're actually thinking outside the box and doing a cookie kit fundraiser this year. They're still batting around ideas that they're going to have to move pretty quickly in order for it to all come together like this week. But they want to, because they would want to do pre-order for those so that we aren't buying a bunch of ingredients and then not selling them. We don't know how many will sell. And we talked initially about maybe doing jars, and then we decided to call them kits and do baggies because we thought the kids might like to pour them into the different, pour them out and add. So it's really about the idea of having kids and families playing together and, making things together. So that's kind of what we're looking at this year. And I actually had another librarian reach out and ask me about that. Apparently I presented last week at conference for Aerosel or 2 weeks ago. And I mentioned that because someone reached out and asked me to tell them more about it. And I didn't have a lot to tell them right now. So that's what they're working on right now, their big thing. And then other than that, it was just catching up because we haven't seen each other since February. So it was nice just to get together. And then they decided that if this goes well, they may add it to their regular cookie walk next year and do some pre-made kits even again.
Great. Does anybody have any questions about the Friends report? No. And then the director report.
Yeah, so staffing update. Lisa Collier asked us to if she could become a sub. She is working in another library as well and was getting quite a bit of hours there. She is retired from teacher librarian. So she had given her notice just that she was going to go move to sub status. Which is nice for us to have. We don't need subs a lot, but it's always nice to have someone who knows what they're doing. So we have hired a new person, Randall Schroeder. He is actually starting tomorrow. That's new information since I wrote the report, the budget report or the board report. So he's starting tomorrow and we'll get him through his training. And he's actually transitioning from a director's position. Just as he's decided he's ready to step off that mantle and move into something different. He misses being on the front lines of librarianship. So he's pretty excited to start. I think he'll be a good fit for us. And then I mentioned Melanie's new title, so you can see that. I think it really is a good thing. It was something that she brought to me, and we talked it over. And actually, we talked with Nick Burgess in the communications department because Jillian's title is also is engagement coordinator for the city. And Nick thought that it was fitting for her to have that title since she really does do that and has stepped out of her marketing to do so much more in the last couple of years, particularly. So then I did mention the lockers already. We're pretty excited to add those. A friend of mine in Indiana has lockers like this. They're just like little lockers like you'd see in a locker room, small lockers, and they have locks on them that we can recode every day, an electronic lock. They don't require batteries, so that's nice. They just are like this clicking mechanism. I've been practicing trying to make them work, so we're hoping. And Julie, my friend who has them in Indiana, really they've had a great success with it. Something that they'll be able to do then to have more hours. People can pick up after hours in those lockers when we give them a locker assignment and a number assigned to them, and then the next day we can switch the number. So just another way to be able to expand our services. And then we're talking about once we get Randall trained, maybe potentially expanding hours to be open a little bit later in the evening. It's very labor intensive. It's strange how labor intensive it is to do the works that we're doing now. The curbside delivery and the programmers particularly have just flipped their entire way they deliver things. I'm sort of in awe with the work they are doing now. So if we do expand it, it'd probably be till maybe 7 is what we're thinking, and just shift up a couple of our part-timers and have a full-timer stick around to help out with those later hours in the evening, if we can make it work. And then the neighborhood nests, I don't remember if I mentioned the nests to you guys last month. I was thinking I did. The Big Brothers Big Sisters nest they had planned to start October 21st. I got an email actually later last week that they have pushed that back a week, so they're not going to start until October 28th now, and they'll be in the library from 3:30 to 6:30. And in the meantime, Erin and I have been talking, and she is probably, for her, it's been very challenging to do programming with the elementary age and high school kids because they're just programmed out they're zoomed out. They're tired of being online. So it's been challenging to figure out how her role looks right now and she's been really supporting the education end of things and trying to figure out how she can help parents. So she is investigating actually offering a nest through the library, an additional nest, at least one and possibly potentially 2. Her thought is probably not to even offer them at the library, but maybe the police station and the water plant have both agreed that they would give us space if we needed it. They both have nice classrooms in their new facilities, so we may be utilizing those spaces to do a nest here or there coming up. She had talked about working with the BASP at the rec, but it's a little bit up in the air just because they don't know what their numbers look like from month to month. Right now, they're low attendance for their normal before and after school program, but that could change anytime. So it's a little hard to anticipate what that could look like. And then just talking about the ARSL conference, we had 7 staff attend. That's more than we would ever be able to have attend if it was out of state, obviously. we can't afford for all of us to be gone and to pay for everyone to go to conference, but online it was wonderful and everybody had a really good time. It was 5 days of all day, like 4 sessions a day if we wanted to attend them all. And then they're all available for us to watch. I've had full and plans to watch them all and have not watched any yet, but I'm hoping to go back and watch some. And then I was able to, excuse me, help present for one called Community Support During COVID, mostly talking about our friends group and how they've worked with us, but also just general library support. It was a really good conversation. It was 2 other librarians, one from Maine, and I'm gonna blank on where the other one was from right now. But somewhere else, not Iowa. So it ended up being really well attended. We had about 65 in the room with us, and we had a good time talking about what our libraries are doing. I learned some things too. So we'll be watching more throughout the month. And like I said, I had someone already reach out to me from another library who just watched my session. So asking about what our friends were doing. We did host satellite voting this past weekend. We had good long lines wrapped around the side of the building, I guess, for part of the day. I do not know what totals we have yet, but it went very smoothly. I thought it was fun that Melanie added the kids voting in there to have it on the table. She had a super cute display up for the kids. I personally know a lot of people that voted. We had 3 staff here kind of just monitoring and making sure everybody was following the rules. We were able to ask them to wear masks, which was good. We do anyway, but the voter auditors also were requiring it for the satellite voting, so that was nice. And we have once again shifted our quarantine. We were doing 96 hours, but Oregon Health Authority came back with a response to a question from the Oregon State Librarian about that 96-hour quarantine. They felt that 24 hours was a plenty and we still continue to wipe our books. Every DVD book that goes out, they're all wiped down with sanitizer before they leave the building anyway. So they had done studies that were saying that there was some potential for some of the virus to still be on books after so many 96 hours or whatever. Now they're saying that the amount, it's really the trace amounts that's showing up on there is not, I mean, literally they would have to lick the pages or lick the book and get it right in the spot where those, so is what they think. So I called the librarian at the State Library of Iowa and asked their opinion on this because we have not gotten any kind of opinion from our public health peoples. They have requested them to give an opinion and they have not received it yet, but they felt that following Oregon's was perfectly reasonable to do at this point. So it's nice for us because we were literally moving hundreds of books every day to new carts to keep them, to keep the flow going and then not being able to shelve for 3 days certain books and things. So it's been helpful for us in the mornings. Particularly Andrew and Emily have been our saviors on the opening. They come in a little bit earlier, 7:30 in the morning to get everything ready, and now they don't quite have to do that. So we just continue to adjust as we learn things, as we all are out there in this world, and we'll continue to monitor those things. And other than that, just the different reports from the staff. I don't know if anyone had any questions about anything that the staff has going on as you read through those. They continue to be busy and to continue to look. I do, Melanie mentioned the brain fuse, and we hadn't made any decisions yet. We just decided last week at the end of the week that we're going to go ahead and get it. Friends is willing to pay for it. It's called Help Now. It is a 7 days a week one-on-one tutoring online for kiddos, and it also has like a paper review option where they can submit a paper, have it reviewed and returned to them with comments. I think it's really it has an adult learning center option too. I think it's going to be really good. We're going to do some real concerted and targeted marketing to our parents out there particularly, and to trying to get the teachers to help us get that word out too. so that people can understand, one of the things we've all heard, I'm sure you've heard, and those of you with younger kiddos, is that we're not teachers, and here we are finding ourselves in this role, and we aren't teachers either, but we got your back is kind of going to be our theme here, I think, is here's how we can help. Erin had said that she only wished that she had something like that when her son was younger, to access a tutor like that. So we're pretty excited about offering that. They're also offering it up in Cedar Rapids. So hopefully maybe we can even gear up to market with them a little bit on it. And I think that is about it.
Thank you for that information. There is definitely a lot going on right now. Moving on to the next section of the agenda. Did everybody have a chance to review the policy, the meeting rooms terms of use? Does anybody have any questions or thoughts they'd like to provide about the policy? No? Okay, quiet group tonight.
Heidi and Jennifer had pointed out a couple of random periods that were at the end of some of our different items under the guidelines, and Jennifer caught them, and then Heidi caught them too. So those were just minor changes, and I went ahead and made those changes in the final draft.
Perfect.
We didn't have any other feedback for now. Our meeting rooms continue to be closed, unfortunately. The only use we'll see in them right now is for the Big Brothers Big Sisters program.
Well, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the meeting room terms of use policy?
I'll make a motion.
Anybody second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. All right, so the meeting room terms of use policy passes. Moving along, is there any old business that needs addressed? No. Finally, any new business that we need to address tonight? No. Well, with that then, does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I will move that we adjourn.
Perfect. Is there a
I'll second
on
that.
Perfect. All
And I
right.
wanted to add that Chris is actually listening. She texted me during Melanie's thing and said, "I can hear you. You just can't see me." So she said, I can hear Melanie talking right now. So she is present.
Wonderful. Hey, Chris. So perfect. Well, we'll adjourn tonight's meeting then. And our next meeting date is going to be November 16th at 6:30 p.m. So
Awesome. And don't forget to take a look at scroll all the way to the bottom so you can see all of our pets, because everyone likes pets, like Melanie said. So I didn't have any, it's hard to get pictures of online virtual programming. So we decided to throw some pets in this time.
sounds great.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks. You guys have a great night too.
Night.
Bye-bye.